Hello, good day, everyone. My name is Jide. Today, there are some thoughts that are crossing my mind. Um, those thoughts also include some personal principles that I learned more than 10 years ago as an undergraduate. Um, they are just thoughts and principles that I feel like sharing with you today, which I think would be of benefit to you. They are principles, they are thoughts that I got to know as an undergraduate when I was studying in school. There were principles that helped me in school. And I've also got to discover that those principles were not just applicable in school, they are also applicable in life generally, whether in marriage or in business or in career or in parenting, regardless of the area of life that one might be interested or looking to improve. Those principles of life that I'm going to share now, I think be would be very applicable. The principle is simple. Pray as if everything depends on prayer, and walk as if everything depends on walking. Pray as if everything depends on prayer, and walk as if everything depends on walking. So I'm sharing this principle from the background of believing in a God that answers prayer and help trusting Him to undo those areas of life that you cannot undo by yourself. So this principle I'm sharing is based on that principle that there is God who can help us achieve what we cannot achieve by ourselves, and to whom is due our loyalty, our allegiance, and our commitment. So as I think about those principles, that principle that I learned in school more than 10 years ago, I discovered that it's something that if anyone live by, there are principles that I think if anyone lives by, would actually make life easier. We have been put under prayer today by many things. Some people are currently going through marital prayers. Some people are actually currently going through parental prayers. Some are going through financial prayers. Some are going through prayers that cannot even be explained in physical terms, probably spiritual prayers. Some people are going through prayers that cannot be explained, that it's only them that are passing through and facing that prayer. Even their spouses cannot fully understand what prayers they are passing through. But in life, there will always be prayers, there will always be challenges, and there will always be things that are going to challenge our normal, natural understanding. So it is not really what life is bringing to us that matters. It is whether we have solutions to those questions that life is bringing to us. Those mountains and hills and valleys that life is throwing at us. The question is, do we have answers to them? In this video, I trust God to help me to actually communicate my thought and these principles that I've learned over time, which I'm always also working on to see how I can undo those prayers, those challenges, and those things that life is throwing at me, and to become a better version of me and to fulfill my purpose here. So life is more than making money. Life is more than acquiring properties. Life is more than you want to ride the best vehicle, the latest vehicle, or to build the biggest house. There is something in us that is always crying for expression. There is a voice of destiny, there's a voice of life, of manifestation that is crying out for expression in us. Because we are faced with, we live in a materialistic world, of course. So we are always under the pressure to acquire as many material properties or things as much as possible. But really, the essence of life is making impact. The essence of life is making someone else better. The essence of life is fulfilling the purpose for which God has sent me or has sent you here on earth to acquire, to do. So I'm speaking from the backdrop of the fact that there is a purpose beyond just acquiring things that you need to discover and make sure that you are actually every day living towards. So what does it mean to pray as if everything depends on prayer? And what does it mean to work as if everything depends on work? There's a portion in the New Testament, a verse in the New Testament that says, not slothful in business, fervent in the spirit, serving the Lord. Not fervent in spirit, not slothful in business, rather, fervent in the spirit, serving the Lord. What does that mean? What does that tell you? As spiritual as the Bible is, or as spiritual as serving God or trusting Him is, there is always the natural side of life. So life is both natural and spiritual. Life is both natural and spiritual. We are a spiritual being. We have a soul. We live in a body. What we can see, our physical bodies, our eyes, our nose, every part of our body is just one part of who we are. We have our soul that is made up of our will, our mind, and our emotion, and we also have our spirit, such that after we are already dead and gone, the spirit and the soul part of us still continue to exist beyond present. So now, if you must pray as if everything depends on prayer, it means that you trust in God that answers prayer, and you also trust that He will take care of the aspect of life that you cannot handle by yourself. Probably you are having issues in life that you cannot handle by yourself. Maybe it is time for you to allow God to handle it for you. You've been trying as much as possible to use human wisdom and strategies and strategizing and networking and everything to get it done, and you have not been able to solve it. Maybe it is time to look at that part of the principle I'm sharing now, like praying as if everything depends on prayer. On the other side, probably you have been praying a lot, you depend on God that answers prayer, and you have always taken your request to Him, but then you don't have practicality to put expression to the answers to your prayer. If you have been praying for a long time for something and you are not getting results, probably it's not because God has not answered the prayer, because God is a God that answers prayer. Probably it's due to the fact that you have received the answer to the prayer, but God is waiting for you to put manifestation and expression to it. And then again, I'm taking a reference from the Bible. Okay? A verse in the Bible in the New Testament says, faith without work is dead. So if you trust in God and you are not diligent, you are not taking steps, okay, you are not putting practicality to your prayers, it will be as good as if you are not praying. And that's where confusion sets in. So many people are confused today who believe in God, who trust in God, who believe there is God, who answers prayer and controls the invisible part of our lives. Yet, they are confused that they are not getting results. So one thing is to believe in God and pray as if everything depends on prayer. But it's another thing to be diligent and take steps and be proactive and have strategies to put expression to what God has answered in the Spirit. So the principle I'm sharing today, and I've been on my mind that I learned over many years when I was an undergraduate, is praying as if everything depends on prayer, and then working, studying, planning, strategizing as if everything depends on strategy. So by the time you are combining these two together, you become an unstoppable force. So these are the two legs that you need to stand on looking forward to 2025. So I'm looking at a glorious 2025. I'm looking at a better 2025. So more than making New Year resolution now. So if you are watching this video, I'm challenging you not just to make a New Year resolution, but to consider this principle I'm sharing today. Are you of the team? Do you pray and yet you are not strategizing enough? You will not get the result you want. Or you are all of a strategy, planning, networking, and yet you are not praying. You will also not be at the optimum performance that you want to have. So in 2025, I want to challenge you to be strong in these two areas and see if there will be no difference between your 2025 and 2024. So we want to trust God to help us. We want to trust in Him because there's an aspect of life that doesn't respond to physical activities. It is the spiritual side of our life because we are a spiritual being. We are primarily a spiritual being. We have a soul and we are housed in this physical body. So that aspect of us, that spiritual aspect of us, God has put it there to worship God. That's why people that are not born again today are constantly looking for satisfaction that is outside of God. There is something in us, which is our spirit, that God has created to be satisfied alone with God. So if that aspect of our life is not in connection with God, there will be some dissatisfaction that we cannot explain. So if you have not given your life to Christ, you are not born again, I'm challenging you this morning with this principle, with this option to consider Jesus and let Him give answer to that area of your life that you are finding it difficult to get answer anywhere. No matter how much you try to get your problem solved or to get that deep-seated satisfaction, okay, no matter how you try to get it in a relationship with people, you cannot get it because that relationship is not supposed to be satisfied by any other person but by God through His Son Jesus. So you may want to consider a relationship with God today, such that when you have that relationship with Him, you now have a ground to pray to God. So God first wants a relationship with you. Then once you have that relationship with you, then you will learn how to pray. In the Bible, Jesus was asked by His disciples, teach us how to pray. Okay? They were His disciples. And what did He do? He taught them how to pray. But they were first His disciples. So you must first become a disciple of Jesus. He will teach you to pray. By learning how to pray, you will be able to learn how to take your burdens to the Lord in prayer. So after you've been able to solve your relationship problem with God, which is the foundation of everything, okay, you will be able to pray as if life depends on prayers. Do you get it now? So for those that are already born again, that already have relationship with Jesus, so I'm sure you do not have problem to know how to pray, to take your burdens, to cast your cares upon the Lord, because He cares for you. So because He cares for you, you have the confidence that if you ask anything according to His will, He heareth you. That is the confidence. So there is this confidence that believers, that born again people have, that when they pray, their prayer is going to be answered, because it is a confidence that cannot be explained naturally. There is no book, there is no author, there is nobody that can teach you, that can give you that confidence, except the one that you get with relationship with God. So I have been able to clearly explain to you how to work on the first part of the principle that says praying as if everything depends on prayer. For you to be able to pray as if everything depends on prayer means that you already have a relationship with God. But if you don't have a relationship with God, start with that through His Son Jesus Christ, by giving your life to Him and allow Him to provide you a leadership and to teach you how to pray. So now, once you know how to pray, first side of the problem is solved. That means no matter what life is throwing to you, that you cannot handle with your experience, with your age, with your network, you can take it to God in prayer. And we have a confidence that if we ask anything of him, he heareth us. That is all. Now let's look at the other side of the principle. Working, studying, researching, strategizing, and doing those things as if everything depends on those things. Now, this is the practical and the natural side of things. When the spiritual and the natural are in harmony, an unstoppable force is set into motion. That is the strategy we are taking into 2025. Now, what do you want to do in the practical and the natural side of your life? You are now born again, you are a child of God, and you believe that everything is now settled spiritually. So now what do? You are able to partner with God. While God takes care of the natural side of your life, you are now handling this physical side of your life. So the physical side of your life is where quite a number of Christians, people who are already in relationship with God, are failing. 2025 must be different. The difference you are going to make in 2025 is that while you take your relationship with God serious, you go to church, you pray, you study the Bible, now put practicality to what you're doing. If whatever area of your life that you are now having challenge, it's not now because you are not praying enough. It is because now you are not putting enough work to get it done. Now look at the business, for example. If you're having challenges in your business, now sit down and ask yourself, strategize and think about the business. Have you acquired enough knowledge to run the business? Because running business is not just praying about it, it's getting critical knowledge of how to run the business, or understanding your market, understanding the trends in your business, in your industry. Okay, SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats affecting your business. Okay, do you understand it? Do you know it? Have you acquired it? So while God has given you the strength, the power to get wealth, He will not give you the knowledge to run the business. It is now your responsibility to run the business by acquiring quick critical knowledge to run the business. Okay, is it marital areas now? Probably you are having challenges in your marriage as I'm speaking now, but you're a Christian, you have a relationship with God, you pray, but you are still having challenges. Now I want to challenge you. Are you reading books on marriage? Okay, are you going to marriage seminars? Are you speaking with people who already have successful marriages? No, it's not just about prayer, it's about being practical, strategic, having critical knowledge in the area of marriage. You are having challenges. So now, don't contemplate divorce. Don't contemplate separating from your spouse. Have you done everything possible practically to resolve the differences between you and your spouse? Maybe you should look into that and make 2025 a better marriage for you and your spouse. Okay? Or probably you are so much concerned about your finances. Okay? Currently, you are in credit card debt. You have a lot of loans that you are paying. Probably because it's not because you are not paying enough, but probably because you have not acquired financial literacy to help you navigate through your circumstance. So you've got to calm down, get inspiration from God. You have an inspiration from God. Listen to the Holy Spirit. It's going to tell you what practical steps. And once it tells you the practical steps, it is now time for you to start taking those steps. Don't be lazy. Don't be indolent. You've got to be practically taking steps to make sure that you are not lagging behind. So God worked for 6 days and rested on the 7th day. God worked for 6 days and rested on the 7th day. So if you take a typical week in God's life, if you take it, so that means God works for over 90%. Is it 90% now? Yeah, probably, of his time working, and just probably 10% of his time resting. So God worked more than he rested in creation. So that tells you that if you must make significant progress, if you must become the image of God that you really have been created to be, you cannot afford not to work more than anybody else in your surrounding. Paul the Apostle says, "Say I labor abundantly more than them all," even though he had grace, but he still didn't joke with working, with diligence. The Bible says that the hand of the diligent maketh rich. The hand of the diligent maketh rich. If you are not diligent, you will be poor. If you are diligent, you have a higher chance of being success. Now, if you are now a child of God, you have a relationship with God, and you are now prayerful, you have an 100% chance to be successful. So this is the principle I want to share with you today. Praying as if everything depends on prayer, and working as if everything depends on working. By the time you combine these two powerful forces together, you become unstoppable. So I'm looking at a 2025 that is stronger, that is better, and that is more rewarding in every area of our life. This is my New Year message to you all, my viewers, my followers. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you've been able to watch this video up to this extent, that means this message resonates with you. So look at a way to make your life better in 2025 by looking at these principles that I've shared with you. So thank you very much. I hope to share another thought and principle as I get inspired at another time. So thank you. Do have a wonderful time. Bye.